All right, time to wipe down the counters. Oh, what's that smell? Harry, Scott, did you fart?
No.
Oh, this water stinks. Ooh. Oh.
You're right. We got to fix that.
Oh, please.
So to fix the problem of the stinky water, we're going to start over here. I've already got some tools in the bay kind of laid out and ready to roll. And this is what we're going to do here. This is, right here is the housing for the water heater. I've already had it turned off for several hours to let it cool down so you don't get burnt when you get in this cabinet and start messing around with the water that comes out, because it does make hot water. So what we're going to do from out here is drain the water out of the water heater, and we're going to have to take this out right here. This is the anode rod. What the anode rod does is it saves the inside of the tank by letting the water in the hard water that's in there eat whatever is on the rod itself. So it basically saves the inside of the tank from getting rusty and nasty, things like that. So first thing we have to do out here before we can do that is go ahead and turn the water off. So right here I have the quarter turn on off that will turn the water off, and let me go ahead and drain the extra pressure. Oh, I can't drain the extra pressure without turning that off. There we go. So we'll drain the extra pressure off. That way we don't get it popped. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go inside and I'm going to turn on one of the faucets to hot water and allow it to drain to take the pressure out of the inside of my tank here. All right, so with the water heater outside turned off and cooled down and the water turned off and depressurized, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come in here and relieve the pressure on the inside of the tank by turning the faucet to hot and letting it run for a minute. You see how it drained the pressure right off of that pretty quickly? All right, all that did is relieve the pressure out of my tank. So now I can go and remove that anode rod without pressurizing it and it blowing out on me. Now, as far as I know, there's at least two different methods to this. You can either go inside and turn the hot water on like I just did, or if you wanted to relieve the pressure, you can do it right here with the pressure release valve. The reason I don't do it here is because my Suburban water heater has electronics here behind this. It's supposed to be waterproof, but you never know. And down here also. So I'm trying to keep as little water flowing on this stuff as I possibly can. That's why I went in and turned the water and relieved the tank pressure from the interior. Now I'm going to go ahead and take my ratchet here with a 1 1/16 inch socket on it, and we're going to go ahead and take this anode rod out. Now when you get to the end of this thing, all of my water heater is 12 gallons, so all of the water that's left in there is going to come out this thing. So if you have anything that you don't want wet, get it out from in front of your water heater before you take this anode rod all the way out. Once it starts dribbling like this, you can make it go faster by releasing the pressure release valve up here, and then the water should come out faster. Still warm, and it's been off for a few hours. They say the anode rod is good to about 75% depletion. This is the one I just pulled out of there. This is a brand new one. I don't even think it's 50%, so this anode rod is still good, supposedly. I'm going to replace it anyway. All right, now that we've drained it, we're going to take the Camco, I believe it is, brand wand here. It is. Tank rinser, you can get this at any place that has a little RV store inside. Not very expensive. I can't remember how much it was, $5 or $10 maybe. And we're just going to go ahead and stick it right in the hole where the anode rod came out, and we're going to flush as much of the of this white stuff that you can see here out as we possibly can. So we'll just stick it in there, and it's a quarter turn here, and it'll start flushing. See all the white stuff that's coming out of there? That's all the sacrificial stuff off the anode rod. That's what's probably causing most of our smell problem right there. Speaking of all the white stuff, do you know what that white stuff in bird poop is? I'll give you a second. It's bird poop too. Dad joke for you. Still getting a little bit of white out of there, so we'll go ahead and do this for a little bit, but we won't keep you in suspense watching this. Good. We've got it pretty good now. We don't have any more white chunks of sacrificial stuff from the anode rod coming out anymore. One other technique I have heard of trying is to turn the water on with the anode rod still out and letting the water push some more of that white stuff out of there. We'll give it a shot, see what happens. We ain't got nothing to lose. So you see the flow increased a little bit, but I don't think we're getting any more debris out of there, even with the water coming up from the hose. Okay, I've never seen this technique before, so this might be my own creation. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the clean out wand in the open position. I'm going to stick it in the hole where the anode rod came out, and then I'm going to pour my vinegar in there. The key is you just want to get enough vinegar in there, or you want to get enough vinegar that it stays in there and doesn't start draining out. Once I get the vinegar in, I'm going to put the old anode rod back in because I don't have a plug. If I just had a plastic plug, I would replace the anode rod with just the plastic plug and let it sit. The only thing that's going to happen is this vinegar, when the water gets in with it, it'll eat more of the anode rod tonight while we're letting it sit. Then tomorrow we'll have to rinse it out again, and we'll show you that, so you want to stay tuned. But this could be a complete failure, or this could be a win. Let's see what happens here. Now I'm going to go ahead, like I said, stick the old anode rod back in and get it started to thread into place by hand. You want to make sure you don't cross thread this at all, so you definitely want to go by hand until you know for sure it's actually started. Take your same wrench that you had before, and we're going to go ahead and turn it into place a few turns until it snugs up. There we go. Now the next step is just turn the water on and let it naturally fill your water heater. When it starts coming out here, you'll know that your heater is full. You can turn the water off. All right, here comes the water. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off now. And now we know that our water heater is full. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and leave it in this position until tomorrow. When we wake up tomorrow, we'll go ahead and drain this again, and we'll show you how we put in the new anode rod and all that stuff. Next thing we're going to do is sanitize the lines, and that's going to come into play over here. And this is something that I think is also my technique. I haven't seen anybody do it yet like this, but there may be somebody out there, I don't know. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to take our filter out, our whole house filter, I'm going to remove the actual filter. It looks like this out of there. Then I'm going to put some more white vinegar in here, and then we'll go in, we'll turn the water on, we'll go inside, and we'll open up all the faucets until we smell vinegar come out. Then we'll know that all the lines are filled with vinegar. We'll let those sit as well. Okay, there's the filter. I did just replace this not long ago, but I can't smell it. Allison's really the only one that can smell it. I'm just going to go ahead and replace this one again. When you get this filter off, first of all, it's going to make a mess in your bay. There's not really a whole lot you can do about that I know of. If you know a trick other than putting a bucket under it, let me know. Thing you want to be very careful with is this little black piece right here, the O-ring. As soon as you dump the water out of this thing, that O-ring is going to fall out like this. And of course it won't do it when it's like that, but because I said it would, it won't do it. But normally that O-ring comes out very easily. It's fallen out of here twice while I was doing that. So now I'm going to go ahead and clean up this bay a little bit, and then I'll get my vinegar in here and we'll go from there. Okay, most of the time when people do this sanitization process, they will use bleach and they will put it into their tank and then use their pump to pump it through all of their faucets in their RV. We don't use our freshwater tank because we're full timing, and we always are hooked up to city water. If we do go boondocking and things like that, which we probably won't, we would use the tank. But at that point, I would have to sanitize the tank anyway. So really, I just want to get the smell out of the lines between here and the faucets inside. So I'm going to go ahead and put my bleach, or not my bleach, this is white vinegar, into the whole house filter housing. And I'm actually going to fill this up with water. And the only reason I did that is because all of that air would have had to go into the lines, and then I would have had to wait for all that air and water to sputter out of the lines when we get inside. We currently don't have a dump at our site, so I picked kind of a bad site to do this in. If we had a dump, it would be no problem. I could let the water run all day and dump it however many times I want. So that's why I did the water inside here. All right. Now I'm going to turn the water on at the faucet here, and then we will go inside and we'll run the vinegar and water through with the faucets in the house. All right, now we're inside, and I'm going to show you how to do one of these faucets, and then I'm going to let you guys go into the next segment. We won't take you through every single faucet in our place. They're all pretty much the same. We're going to switch it over to the cold water because you don't want to be dragging the water out of your hot water tank that you just filled. You want to be pulling it out of the cold side because that's where our next batch of vinegar is ready to come in. Once you get it over there, you're just going to turn it on and wait until you smell that vinegar come out. Just like that. All you have to do is wait to smell that vinegar and then shut it back off. We're going to leave it off again overnight, and then we're going to go out and we're going to drain all the vinegar out. We're going to replace everything outside. So you're going to want to stick around to see how we put it all back together. We're back out here. It's the next day. We're going to go ahead and open everything up, flush everything out, and then we're going to go ahead and test the water and make sure we don't have any smells left. So first things first, let's go ahead and open it all up here. We got some rain last night, as you may be able to see. It's a little bit chilly out this morning. It's only in the 60s today, so we're finally getting some fall weather, I hope. We'll see what happens. All right, so we've already opened up the faucets inside just like we did yesterday when we were filling them and getting them filled with the vinegar. So we'll go ahead and get it opened up now, the water heater and also the whole house filter here, and we'll go ahead and drain it all out. All right, I'm just gonna double check out here with the pressure relief valve here that the pressure to the tank is actually relieved. Here we go. Now back to my ratchet, and we're just gonna take that anode rod back out just like we did yesterday. Again, remember you want to stand to the side because when it starts coming out, it'll get you if you don't. And then release the pressure valve and you'll see it flow. And we're just going to let that drain all the way out. While that one's draining, I'm going to go ahead and come over here and get this whole house filter off. I'm actually going to try this as a new technique today after getting my wet bay completely wet every time. I'm going to go ahead and put this under there. Hopefully catch all the water as it comes out of the filter here. All right, now that the water heater is done draining, we're going to take the flush out wand again just like we did yesterday. Hook it back up to the hose, and we'll start flushing the water heater with it just like we did yesterday. So turn this off, turn the water on here at the faucet, and get it in there. A lot less sediment today, so that's good, a good sign. But I'm just going to go ahead and flush this for a little while, get as much of the vinegar out of there as I can, and then we'll come back and I'll show you what we're going to do on that other side. Right now that the water heater is done draining, I'm going to go ahead and put in the new anode rod. The rod that I got was a original part for suburban water heaters, which is what ours is. If you have a non-suburban water heater, they don't need the anode rod. So check with the manufacturer of your water heater to see if you need an anode rod or not. Some do, some don't, depending on what the tank's made with. Now mine came already pre-done with some plumber's tape on there. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put it in there in place. And just like I said yesterday, you're always gonna wanna start this by hand to make sure you don't get it cross-threaded. Make sure you get a good bite on it and there's no cross-threading going on here. It's very important. Then we'll just use the ratchet, snug it down. Not too tight, but you want to make sure that it's good and snug in there. Once you get it snugged down, you're going to want to dry out the cabinet here so you can check for leaks after you put the water back into the heater. So get it good and dried up. And then we'll come over here to the wet bay and we're going to put in a new filter into the whole house filter here. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and rinse this. Rinse the filter housing here with some fresh water, just because we had bleach in, or not bleach, white vinegar. We used white vinegar in here yesterday, so I'm going to go ahead and rinse that down just to get as much out before we pump more water into the system. All right, then I'll put the new filter in. It's just like the ones in your old house. You just put the filter in. I am going to add water, like I said yesterday, so that way I don't introduce all that air into the system. And then it just goes right back in place there and screws screws right back into place up here. Again, you want to make sure that you visually inspect that O-ring inside there. Make sure it doesn't fall out of there. They are very easy to come out, so make sure the O-ring is in there before you put it back in place. After you get it snugged in, go ahead and take your wrench, put it on there and tighten it up. Now the next step, we're going to go ahead and turn the city water back on. It'll fill the water heater. Now remember, you're going to leave the pressure release valve open until water starts coming out of here, and then you're going to shut the pressure release valve, and then it'll pressurize the lines going into the faucets inside also. Then after we get it pressurized and ready to roll, we'll go inside and turn on the faucets. We'll show you that here in a minute. All right, the water is starting, so we'll let it get pretty solid when it stops sputtering. And then we'll turn it off. Just like that. For mine's a 12-gallon water heater. It takes about 6 to 7 minutes to fill it all the way to get the water to actually start coming out of the pressure release valve. So once it does, and you just saw that, we're gonna again go ahead and dry it up here. Just again to make sure we don't have any leaks. We're gonna leave it open for a while, and then we're gonna go inside and run all of the faucets inside to drain the lines. Also, while I'm out here, from my water heater, it's a Suburban, there's an on-off switch down here. The switch has to be in the on position if you're going to use it on electric. So we'll go ahead and switch it to on, and then it's ready to roll. The whole house filter is in place, and it's pressurized also, so everything inside the RV should be ready to go as far as water goes again. But we need to go inside and turn on each faucet, both hot and cold, and make sure we don't have vinegary smell coming in. Once that vinegar stops, the vinegar smell stops, then you'll know that specific faucet is good to go, and we can move on to the next one. My technique is to start closest to the water heater and the inlet. That way, as I move towards the back of the RV, everything in front of me has already been drained through. So I'm going to leave this right in the middle for warm water and turn it on, and just wait until I don't smell any vinegar come out anymore. So we'll turn it on. It should sputter a little bit. Even though I did fill the whole house filter with water, you'll still have a little bit of water in the line, so you will get some sputter out of it. And I don't smell any vinegar anymore, so I'll go ahead and turn it off. Then from here, we'll move on to the shower and the toilet, and then move our way back towards the back of the RV. The last step before we take a 15 to 20 minute break is we're going to go ahead and turn the water heater on from inside. We're hooked up now, so we're running on electric. Oh. Okay, so the water heater's on. Now we're just going to wait for about 10-15 minutes, and then we'll go out. We'll make sure that the water heater is working from inside, and then we'll go out, double check any leaks, and then we'll button it all up and we'll be done. About 20 minutes has gone by now, so we're out here just double checking, make sure we don't have any leaks still coming from where the anode rod goes in. It looks pretty good. It's all dry here. We did test the hot water inside. It is heating fine, so that's a plus. And we'll also look in the wet bay here, because we did replace this one to see if we got any leaks here, and it's still dry as well. So now all I have to do is put the cover back on the water heater and close my bay door, and we're all done. Now it's been several days after we treated the system with the vinegar, and the smell, I'm happy to say, is still gone, I believe. She's really the only one that could smell it. So
let's see. Oh, baby, you're my hero. Thanks, babe.
Well, if you're still here, thanks for sticking around to the end. We'll see you next time on Jarhead and Ginger's Journey.
Bye.